Salutations, labdien, mushy mushy. I think that's the right greeting. Correct me anyway, and give me a new one. We are back to gregging it, and egging, and we immediately get stuck in a door. 1.6, eat your heart out. I'm feeling it now. Now, it should be impossible for me to enter the nether at this point, because I need steel, because of, the flint and steel. Unfortunately, fire charges also still drop from something or other, and with this, I now have a two-way pathway into hell itself. And what is in hell? Sulfur. Joyous. I can make bombs. Or rubber. Either or. On the back of the previous video, time to gear up and push progression as far as I can in this moment, which for you is a few minutes. For me, it was hours. I also made a fridge for all of my foodstuffs, and did a bit of organization. That and this first little portion will be the starter base, which is a lie because a true starter base needs to look completely ugly, and this still looks fine. I made a water tank, and with that pipe, made of bronze, it is transporting said water. Water to what? Why, to the storage system, of course. How else am I supposed to sort through all of these? By hand? Horrid hand sorting? I kid, of course. I'd say those eyes of yours are crossed. No, as you no doubt asked, I do not keep it properly orderly and or sorted. I am a creature of chaos and impulse. Why else would I play Deadlock? Remember that alloy smelter? Well, one of those alloys I need is red alloy. Delightful name, but I appreciate how straightforward it is. Copper and redstone. Red bar of metal. It's nice. It's simple. It gets the point across. Though the problem with this tiny machine shop is that the steam produced is poor. The quantity is the problem. I need more. So the solution is obvious. Make the multiblock, which I am sure is not at all a ridiculous cost. Bronze and a quarter vein of iron. Actually, no, it's more than a quarter vein of iron. Machines doubled up, a boiler of proper proportion, and macerators, which double the ore gain for most ores. Processing is real and ready to be considered, though what I desire is a compressor. I need to make certain blocks for the next stage of progression. I have learned further on that this is what you would call taint. Very icky, no good. I also found a diamond vein, which is nice since diamonds are pure carbon and good to burn. What a strange thing to do. If it isn't clear, the next progression point is steel, and for that I need to make bricks, but phooey to that I say. Theft is the way of this world wherever possible. Oh, now this is a nice screenshot, that goes hard. Playing with shaders may incur an FPS cost, but damnation. Look at that beautiful shot. Move along, employee. There's nothing interesting to see here. The first machine line, in proper form, macerates to double the ore I get from mining. A bit slow, but higher yield is nice. Furnaces powered by steam to save on fuel for the boiler itself. But right now, I'm crushing those bricks down into dust to make the vaunted fire brick. Of course, the wall of text explaining a mechanic. A true modding classic. How do we get this across to the player? Multiple paragraphs. That isn't criticism, mind you. This is genuinely helpful, but I do feel it could be more concise and densed down. Compressed, in other words. Because I can tell this was written by someone who is an expert in this modded field, per se, and all I want to do is learn the hard way. Yellow paint be damned. But that was just for my compressors. I think to make the bricks I needed some mining and processing of other various materials. For concrete and some gypsum to rub and make them feel special. And like that, fire bricks. Now why fire this brick? Steel. Making. It is a carbon-intensive process, and as such, the heat will rise beyond reasonable levels. Or need to rise beyond reasonable levels. And that would crack regular bricks. But with some inherent construction, the maximum heat capacity it can tolerate is now higher. This is due to the variety of different minerals present that I added. And it shockingly doesn't break. Gregtech 1, Vintage Story 0. Shocking resistance on that one.
Shout out Forestry for making the recipe not a pain in the keister to deal with. Still annoying, but less pain is always better. A little extra blast furnaces, and boom! The proper steelmaking furnace of Black Lung fame, otherwise identified as a BBF. Now, despite making this, a single piece of steel takes a lot of time, but with movie magic, steel ingot. I sure hope I won't need to increase production to ridiculous proportions. Do I have enough obsonite? No, I'm missing 6. Damnation. But a little extra grinding and effort in the tool forge is mine. Now I can have the bliss that is a hammer. I make the molds, and I also get access to the lumbering beast that is my Arnold. And in honor of the time it took to make these tools, 40 minutes is born into this world. Why 40 minutes? Steel. But I also had enough for a big improvement. That's right, a backpack. Of one variety, but having multiple inventories is a great improvement. But more inventory sorting is necessary. Exhibit A as to why Arnold is a tough guy. Incredible, really. I did plant that redwood, by the by, and I understand that warning now. I'll have to clean it later. I also have glass now. I'm not sure why. I forgot why I made this. Cooking with blockheads. The quality of life solution to how do I make this hyper-specific recipe and meal that is somehow real? Now I'm hungry for a bit of toasted bread. Oh wait, I have dye to use. The most masculine of colors. Pink. I can rock it. Hell yeah, baby. But time skip. Renovation interrupted by a creeper of doom. It destroyed a blast furnace. Fret not, the products are not lost. Though I did lose the furnace's bricks from my second BBF, so back to grinding a bit to fix that misplay on my part. We will also not mention the other issue that was creeper related. At least auto backups are included. I made too much glass. I need to pipe this nonsense out of the smeltery. Another wood chunk. Now that is nice. An iron gear made of rods and plates. What devious scheme could this be used for? Hoppers, obviously. More plates, a chest, 2 tools, and like that, the most ancient of Minecraftian automation techniques. A humble hopper. I make a stack of these later, by the by. I didn't need to, but you can never be too prepared. Any steel? No steel. Ah, well. More teeth pulling. Time to think about multi-blocks. They have this neat thing called parallel crafting, which to make that easier to digest, it does the process multiple times, only once. So if a macerator only macerates 1 ore, the multi-block can process 8 ore, for example. This process, however, does come at the cost of extra power and space being needed. It's the trade-off. To further simplify, big machine make lots, small machine make little. We want the big machine when able. Though for that, I'll need Tumbaga, which isn't related to Timbuktu. But I'll just change up the regular machines for the high pressure variant. Double the speed, double the steam consumed, but worth every last bit. Given my ore consumption, doubling all of that ore is best, so the first multi-block will be the steam grinder, which is the macerator multi-block. Oh, we have solar panels? I'll have to remember that for later. I do so love free energy. Let's go gambling! Yeah, mostly a bust, but nice to go through. I also learn of reinforcement, and how it can make my tool invincible. I mean, I guess less ingots spent and then inevitably reaching the peak where the tool won't ever break again, but I fail to see the purpose, given that one's inventory will just fill more. Oh, but runbacks are cut, yeah, and I still need to eat, so band-aid on a larger symptom present. The paragraph even admits to it. Why
keep in something niche when you could just rip it out and make the overall mining experience better? This one has to be explained to me. I'm kind of lost. Still, make one and try one out. It's okay, I guess. Time progresses forward, and I open up the first floors. Yes, that is my AFK box. I went and did groceries with my mother whilst an entire chest of ore processed. No, it was only about halfway done in the hour we spent at the store. But what I did do is scale up my BBFs. I need more because of LV, or low voltage, because that's on the goal list today. Time to grind. Another reason why multi-blocks are the way forward is that these specific constructs will be the only access I have to some machines for a larger stretch of time, and getting 1 foot in is better than none. Though I haven't mentioned wall sharing, but now I have. I don't get it, I just float down the river like I usually do. The hyper-specific steam age output and input bus. Yes, I do know I can change them into each other. I learned this later. Do not point out my foolishness. And just like that, a 3x3 cube, input and output and... Wait, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, engine needs gas in it. And this needs steam. Go, my steam hatch. Now, there we go. Everything should be spiffy. Yes, I know I can hit the power button in the UI, I just think it looks nicer to use the mallet. On occasion. Yes, I do swap over to hitting the power button. I understand. Now, look at that! Proper mass production is on the cards, visitors. Here is when I realized that I can make the input into an output and subsequently have nice things to say. But you know, the audio got corrupted. Oh, what a shame. Storage is getting a bit hectic. This calls for overkill. Go, my gold barrel. Give me a ridiculous amount of storage for all my knickknacks. The aesthetic-pleasing farm is gone. It's back to the 9x4x9 mass industrial accident build. My hunger is great. I also inform you that I was busy chewing on the redwood. I am still on progress of chewing through it. My patience gives me nearly 2 stacks of steel. That is woefully small. I need to expand this up again. Why the steel? For the high-pressure boiler, of course. My steam demands are rising, and are only going up higher. Go, my hammers. Crush that ore into the pure carbon I can burn. Yes, I've been burning diamonds by the stacks. They are overflowing from my pockets. Bite me. Still not C-block, still not Crestorio or Space Age, but I'm still stuck futzing around with pipes. At least these are simple and don't break. The arrows indicate flow direction, and right now I only want them to flow in one direction, hence the wrench. And before you ask, yes, it takes durability to do this. I do not like that, and I chewed through one wrench already. Why can't things just be simple? Why must changing the direction of a pipe take durability? Why am I being annoyed by this? It's not fun, it's annoying. Anyway. Crushed nether quartz and glass dust. Fused quartz glass within an alloy smelter. It takes a lot to process in terms of steam. What am I going to need it for? The multi-block alloy smelter, of course. Classic move, however, distraction. I actually make a steam squasher for bulk compression. I also make the railcraft tank and, I admit, I went overboard. I also failed to construct it properly because the input and output bits are, place sensitive as to, well, where they can be placed. Mark it down. The second wrench is done and dusted. Another side quest completed was the steam oven, so now I can smelt even faster too. My grinding needs are growing. Another grinder to the front, back, side? Whichever direction it is. Alright, big progression bump, clap clap. Ignore the playtime counter. I turn it off later because my power went off at one point, and it is now incorrect. But steel grinders! Double the speed and more fuel consumption, but worth it all the same. And of course, the humble multi-alloy smelter for my bulk alloying needs. Done and dusted. I also get a cleaver. It needs a name. I'm taking suggestions. If you're thinking, wow, This is progressing fast. I mean, you're just blitzing through this. I am converting the raw experience I am having down into a very, very digestible format, and I'm still upset that it's not shorter. I am still unsatisfied with it, to repeat myself. However, because this mod is distracting me with all these little teeny tiny tasks, it's 1,000 cuts compared to one large. If I have skipped over recipes and requirements and the like, or just didn't explain a chain, that's because I cannot fit them, because whilst microcrafting is, a cool novelty at first, it isn't interesting. It's boring beyond belief. Believe me, the 1,000 words I wrote over and over trying to make something entertaining haunts me with the time wasted. If anything, microcrafting feels stilted, just thrust in without further context. And it just, and I'm losing myself now. The Steam Age is just like this, by the way. For me, in any event. I'm sure it'll get better in LV. And to remind everyone keeping track, I am still in early LV. Any tips and backseating are allowed only up until that point. I know how you Minecraft mod players are, and I will let you blow off that proverbial steam. Anywho, small break aside. Back to the show. A cool thing about the multi-alloy smelter is that some molds created with a brass cutout and then steel poured over will allow me to make certain things. In this case, I'm interested mainly in the bowls, plates, and ingots. But what's that? Sticky resin? Whatever could that be used for? It's circuits. Basic circuits. Electricity can soon be real. But one cannot persist with gooey resin alone. It requires an activation of sulfur and a mold to make rubber. Well, it doesn't need the mold like I thought, but rubber bars are now properly produced. This is your mass industrialization update from the farm. More plots have been tilled. Sharpen my cleaver for that prime head game. Remember my talk about finding a sulfur vein? I found it. Downside is that it is under a lava ocean, but upside is that I now have 3 inventories worth and won't be needing that much more for about 4 hours, I think it was. I also swapped out my boiler for the liquid-fueled variety, and I admit, it is a bit disgusting how I'm going about this, and in hindsight, I had all the tools to make filling semi-automatically a possibility. I was just stubborn and didn't want to play around with more pipes. Can you blame me? In terms of chronological time period, this was when I was still on episode 4 of my Belts Only escapade in Factorio, and that was some time ago. So yeah, it makes sense the laziness I was engaging in. Oh yeah, pollution exists, and with that, Black Lung is here, baby. Whilst I'm toying with crops, allow me to explain pollution. Pollution, owing to its name, will make a chunk uninhabitable and cause many a problem. Damage, first and foremost, and then stacking debuffs until you keel over and die. It will also kill plants and vegetation. Pollution itself dissipates over time, thankfully, but at a certain point, measures will have to be taken solely to prevent its continued annoyance. Yes, I know I can turn it off, but if it's on by default, we are finishing it, by default, on. I'm not going to turn it off, to repeat myself, because I am LARPing the new player, who may not be too technically savvy, let's say. Such is my frame of mind, and this mechanic, whilst I understand the intent and idea behind it, no, I don't like it. This isn't Factorio where it will attract biters to impede your progress. This is solely just to annoy you and force you to make a hyper-specific item set early, which, is made of tissue paper because you dared scale up due to the ridiculous time investment asked of you by the devs. I'm not a fan, to repeat myself, again, but I will beat the whole mod with it on to see if my opinion changes, because right now, it is wholly negative. My thinking and attempting to figure out this crop breeding business is interrupted by a coal ore block. Oh no, I wonder whatever could have hit me. Oh, crop breeding is one of the routes to infinite production for certain ores. Well, I'd rather not do this right now. But good news! Motors, copper wire, metal rods, electromagnetic rods, and some insulated tin wire. An electric motor, one of the many ingredients for a proper electrical machine. Given how large some of these machines are getting, I got this piece of paper that does the job automatically and, of course, I forgot to read the instructions on the blue piece of paper. One moment. Scratch that, I'm making glass tubes. Whatever could glass tubes be for? Simple. One of the ingredients for LV circuits. Side note, I hate the naming scheme. But with that, some more copper wire, fine copper coils, steel rods, and redstone alloy bits. Vacuum tubes. Though I still need the circuit board itself and the resistors because, boy howdy, is even a little bit of voltage dangerous to mess around with. I get distracted making bronze, however. Now, the purifier, owing to the name, purifies ore, though it won't give my motor functions to cleaning for falling into the washer itself. The purification has simple and non-simple washing. It'll be on non-simple because it's time for everyone's favorite part of the factory. That's right, byproducts. Thankfully, every byproduct is useful in some way. It also makes getting a bunch of actual redstone dust easy because it just needs a little bit of washing. A moment of silence for the wall of crates. What for? I move it later. Obviously. Circuit board's made, it just needs more copper wire. Cut the plates into wire, surround them, and like that, the circuit board is made. Okay, the oil fire is not my fault, surprisingly. Lightning struck it, not me. My resin demands are ridiculous. As such, I need two sources. I'll take this slime island and mass-produce slime trees for that exact reason. Behold, the second byproduct producer and remover, the steam separator. It totally didn't break on me the first time because I put a gearbox in the wrong place. No sir, I say so. Given the name, I leave it as a test of your intellect to try and figure out what it does. Making electronic components takes a lot of copper. Who would have thunk it? But that's resistors down and on the board. Now it's time to make those proper pieces of technology. And of course, they need steel, because fuck you, that's why. Before you ask, I have 8 BBFs, but I see that I'm going to need to double even that up for a smoother progression arc. Why is that? A lot of why today. Simple. LV is the steel machine age, because everyone and their cousin needs this hardy and handy material. But what is this? The machine hull? The hull with which many machines can be made? I do like that every machine hull will have the same recipe, quote unquote. That is a nice bit of quality. Shockingly nice. The next question then becomes, how do we produce electrical power? The answer is obvious. Boiling water. This creates steam. It spins a turbine. Steam turbine. And let me just add like that. Tier 1 of LV is ready to be progressed to. I was waiting for the but equivalent to hit. Welcome to electricity. It is either the easiest thing to move around, or the mod maker / makers decide that suffering is mandatory and you are on the receiving end of their supposed genius. If it is unclear, I have a wholly negative opinion on this electrical nonsense. Most of this stems from, let us refer to it as outside wiki development, where in order to understand a mechanic, you have to acquire an outside source. In this case, that is Gregtech New Horizons wiki, which is advertised even in the quest book. I haven't mentioned it up until this point, I think. My memory is shoddy. Regardless, I do not like having to resort to wikis. Call me old-fashioned, a bit of a boomer one might say, but I believe that a system should be able to be understood easily within the confines of the game. I shouldn't have to be told by multiple people, which is what happened, to go to the wiki, because, heaven forbid, I ask for help in understanding something that confuses me. I didn't look at the wiki, mind you. I struggled and figured everything out myself in protest. I'll save that bit of feedback for mid-LV, however, in the next video. Whenever it comes. I have thoughts, and I can't fit them here. But with that turbine, the vaunted age of Tier 1 is here. And I thought it would be bigger, to be honest. Let me see my choice of fuels, and it's all just combustion. Well, nuclear is on the list, but I have experiences with Minecraft nuclear tinkering that I'd rather not repeat, so I guess it is oil and solar, because hybrid power systems are the coolest thing around. Circuits, conveyors, pistons, robot arms, a small pause to look at a rock breaker. Fascinating. My first assembling machine. It'd feel sweet were it not so damned expensive. Next up comes the extruder. A resident copper thief decided to stop by. I'm not pleased. Yes, the wire cutters do take durability damage, but at least the machines are powered. A diamond and circuit? For what? A quick and dirty portal generator. This generator will take me to a magical land that isn't named Oz. Big improvement. Shaders are off for the moment, but I am clearing the way for the topside factory. I grow tired of the underground. Magic nonsense making a portal to Narnia nonsense. But Geronimo nonetheless. Dear. Why am I here? Oh right, lead and silver. Eventually I'll need some of this stuff to make aluminium. Right now I want batteries and solar panels. First vein of lead chewed, I can already feel the brain damage setting in. The silver slightly solved my problem of being harassed by werewolves. My accuracy still leaves something to be desired, however. Ah, I see. Nickel alloys are now on the menu. In that time frame, I also made this mixer. It mixes. Oh boy! Electrical blast furnaces? I'm sure those will not be annoying to create in the slightest, and the recipe times will reflect the progression I've made. Cobalt is here too, I guess. The bender bends. The polarizer makes electromagnetic thingamabobs at a much better cost than multiple stacks of redstone. Progression is here, baby. Cobalt brass? These alloys are ridiculous. There's no possible way that exists. Mica ore is very rare. Are you kidding me? Is there one thing in this entire mod pack that isn't a headache or nailed to the forearm to do? Alright, apologies. A little molding is healthy. Back to the base and the storage hole. You know what cheers anyone up? Gambling! A lot of cells and some different foods. Very nice. Now, to power my new topside base, I have the coke oven set up. Scuffed beyond belief that it is, but it functions and I can tap off all the creosote into a tank, burn it off for steam, and the resulting charcoal can then go into a squasher, get compressed, and be thrust into a bunch of BBFs for making more steel. After only 5 days, true automation has arrived. If you guessed that a steam separator separates, you'd be on the money. Byproducts are useful, and for some, it is the only way to get certain resources, mimicking, to a degree, real-life ore processing. What that magical FPS hit of a biome does as well is give me access to canopy trees. I have a vague recollection of seeing these in a modded server once, in a very negative context. But I'll have to leave that memory for later, because it's been too long since the last I've seen the sun, lost to this monster, this Greg behind the horizon. As always, thank you for your patronage, even if this video kinda sucks. Even if it is, only this time or returning. The usual bits of engagement are asked for to help make more people see me, inflict me upon their eyes so that I may throw the copper wire into their drinks. But the usual bit of linkage is present, as always, in the description via the link tree. Check out the Discord to keep up to date with whatever it is I am doing. The other social sites required of me to be so-called noticed, big if true on that part. My web novel, of course, ongoing, so it'll always give you something to come back to each month. And it has a new chapter out, so go check it out. It's on Wattpad and Patreon for the low, low price of free Any financial support is up to you to decide, but giving me cash improves production, so consider. Alright, show's over. Hit the road. Curtains will draw open when they do. Ciao!